And when we go to technical part, there are two different modules that we categorize in technical modules. First is SAP ABAP, that we are going to take as a course, and the second is SAP Basis. Let me tell you one by one. ABAP is a language. It's actually a programming language. Programmers can easily understand. Advanced Business Application Programming Language is the default programming language for SAP application. You can also use Java to code in SAP. Learn more SAP ABAP. Let me tell you about this line. Learn more about SAP ABAP. That I'm not going to tell you everything here on this slide. We will be discussing in further lectures as well. So the second module is SAP Basis. As I have told, that are related to the securities, to the users, to the operating systems, to the databases, to the backups of data, communication protocols that are related to SAP Basis. And if you want to study about the SAP Basis, you can study from the Google as well and the other platforms. Here are three different kind of SAP users. And first is end user, that are only using the SAP. They don't know about internal processes, they don't know about the technical things, they don't know about the functionalities, tables, nothing. That are mostly related to data entry. And the second is functional consultant. Functional consultant is a part of functionalities of internal process of an organization, that are actually managing the processes, that are resolving the issues, that are resolving the errors in any function modules. But every module have different consultant. Finance have finance consultant, MM have material management consultant, PP has different, technical have different, because there is third part, technical consultants, that are related to ABAP and Basics. So let's come to the point. ABAP overview. Introduction to ABAP. ABAP is a very important module in SAP, and we are going to discuss in detail and taking as a course. So what we will be discussing here: introduction to ABAP, introduction to SAP architecture, flow of database, ABAP dispatcher, processing of dialog request, variant of SAP GUI, and SAP screen overview. Introduction to ABAP. ABAP stands for Advanced Business Application Programming Language. It is a programming language for developing application for the SAP R3 system. Let me mention one thing. ABAP only uses in SAP and nothing else than SAP. The latest version of ABAP is called ABAP Objects and Support Object-Oriented Programming. Any ABAP program, because it requires the basis module, can run only within an SAP environment. So ABAP features: declaring data with various types and structure like other programming languages, operation element for data manipulations, control elements for controlling the program flow, what will be given, what will be the expectations from the program. These are all things related to the features. Event element for reacting to external events. Here is an introduction to the SAP architecture. As I told you, this is three-tier architecture: presentation layer, application layer, and database layer. Presentation layer, that is related to end user who are just using the SAP GUI and nothing know about the system. And the second is application layer. Application layer actually decide the route, actually control the requests that are sent by the presentation layer, and after that send that request to the database layer for some kind of data request and given back to the presentation layer. That is all held by the application layer. And the third is database layer. Database layer is also maintain all the data that is stored in SAP S/4HANA system, and that is all maintained by database. All the tables, all the data storage, views, any kind of development we do, any kind of data related to SAP is directly stored in RDBMS. Here is a basic concept of RDBMS and DBMS. Let me tell you a differentiate between them. Database management system is a specific database management system, nothing related to any integration, nothing else. There can be different databases for different modules. So the relational database management system is related to that all the modules, all the databases have same database, integrated database, sharing their data. That is also related to integration part of SAP. So let me tell you, the presentation layer consists of any input device that can be used to control SAP system. This could be a web browser, a mobile device, and so on. All the central processing take place in application server. After that, the application server is not just one system in itself, but it can be multiple instances of the process system and manipulate all the processes of internal communication. And the third one is database layer. I created a specific slide for database layer because it's very important for an ABAPer. A server communicates with the database layer that is usually kept on a separate server, mainly for performance reasons and also for security. Communication happens between each layer of the system, from the presentation layer to the database layer and then back up to the chain. As like request sent from application presentation layer goes to the application layer, then goes to the database layer, and then goes to the RDBMS, that is also the part of database layer. After that, request comes back to the database layer, to the application layer, and to the presentation layer. I will tell you who manages here on application layer in next slide. Here is an ABAP dispatcher. Each application server has a dispatcher request or process via work processes. ABAP dispatcher is some kind of manager who actually manages the request sent from the presentation layer. Actually, here are different work processes. Work processes are some kind of workers. Actually, they do the work. Who have to done which work, that is actually related to work processes and ABAP dispatcher. In the role of the dispatcher is to assign requests that are sent by the presentation layer to two work processes. A user make a request, the request is sent to the dispatcher, and the dispatcher assign the request to a freely available work process. Okay, and next, what is work process? This is very important thing. User requests are processed through work processes. There may exist multiple work processes per application server instance. The ABAP dispatcher in turn assigns the request to the available work process for processing. Let me tell you once again, ABAP dispatcher assigns the request to the available work process. So here are many work processes and doing their jobs. First work process do a job and tell the dispatcher that I am available for another work. Here is the next line. We are talking about this work process becomes free. It's again to take a new request when they finishes their first task. Here is a flow of database query when we write a query in program, and from presentation layer to database layer, how it works actually. As I told you, SAP ABAP, we can write a code in Java as well, but here are different techniques to write Java in ABAP program, SAP program. So database layer is related to OpenSQL that directly understand the OpenSQL, native SQL, sorry, because that is related to Java. So database layer directly understand the native SQL command. So as I shown you in the picture, that accept query, execute SQL select, and execute anything that is written in native SQL, that will directly go to database layer, and database layer will directly send back the information. There is no any you can say translator, because database layer directly understands the native SQL. But in ABAP we use OpenSQL. Database layer cannot understand the OpenSQL directly. So here is a different DB interface, local buffer you can say, who actually translates OpenSQL into native SQL and send that request to the database level, and after that same request came back to the database interface and again translated to OpenSQL and go to the ABAP program. This is the whole process actually plays through. Here are different dialog requests in a program, in SAP program that is written in ABAP. Here are three different things: process before output, output and process after input. Let's keep in mind a report which have some kind of parameters. User gives some kind of input data, and after this whole process comes in process after input. User send any kind of information in input parameter and we validate that what is that a right input or not. This all happens in process after input. After that, some kind of calculation, some kind of data manufacturing, data processes happens in process before output. Some kind of output made in this event, process before output. When the output is complete, then it sends to the sprint. This is the whole process that is repeating each time in SAP. There is a variant of SAP GUI and their flow of communication with the ABAP dispatcher of the Internet Communication Manager. These are two different things when we are working on SAP GUI, that is related to ABAP dispatcher, and if we are working on SAP web-based solution, and their dispatcher not coming in mind. There is second thing that is related to Internet Communication Manager, who manages all the work processes. After that, we have last point, SAP GUI. SAP GUI runs on Windows-based platform and supports all the transactions in an SAP system. SAP GUI for Windows is written in C or C++, and here is some kind of first view or SAP system. The user data in SAP system is called the user master record, and SAP client stores the user master record in the system. This means that you can log on to only those clients where your user master record exists. Your system administrator can add text to your login screen. There are four different input fields: client, username, password and language from which you are going to log in. And here is an ABAP SAP screen structure. Here you can see in the picture. I will give the introduction in next lecture as well. Here are some kind of specific buttons: menu bar, system toolbar, command field, title bar, application toolbar, tabs, input fields, checkboxes, radio button, status bar. We all are familiar with this. Flow of ABAP program and ABAP workbench. Here is some kind of discussion. We are going to do overview of program flow, structure of the ABAP repository, ABAP environment, navigating and opening transactions. Here is again first thing that is related to three-tier architecture: presentation layer, application layer, database layer. That is I have already told. Let's move further. Database level. Database level is the lowest level in the SAP NetWeaver. As this level database is managed with the help of Relational Database Management System (RDBMS). In addition to application data, it includes programs and the metadata that the SAP system requires for operations. And then in the application server, application layer level is the intermediate level in SAP NetWeaver. As this level, ABAP programs such as application that SAP provides and any custom development application run on the application server. ABAP program read data from the database, processes, and if necessary store new data in the database. That is all happens and managed in application server. And the last one is presentation layer. Presentation layer level is the third level in the SAP NetWeaver, as this contains the user interface where each user can access the program, enter new data, receive the results of the work processes. Here is an overview of program flow. Let me use a word: black box for a user. SAP is like a black box for front-end user. You don't know about the internal process of the software of the SAP. User do not need to know the precise process flow of an ABAP program, and average user is only interested in the business process and how to enter or display data. In contrast, developers need to understand the interplay between both the server level and the process flow when programs are executed to develop their own programs. That is why we have to understand the SAP process and SAP working. So program flow after the use in it has been called the ABAP processing flow of receive statement for structuring the list with which the result is to be displayed. Here are some kind of repositories where we actually categorize or specified our data, database tables, database views. Here different repositories you can see some kind. I am just taking it as an example. SAP store data all the related to all the modules as a repository but on the same database. ABAP environment. SAP provides development environment called ABAP Workbench, a collection of tools used to develop the standard ABAP programs. After the release of SAP NetWeaver 7.31, SPS and SAP introduced the ABAP development tools ADT for the SAP NetWeaver. I will tell you about the ADT in later classes. Also known as ABAP in Eclipse, which has Eclipse capabilities to ABAP Workbench transaction and CET functionalities. Here is ABAP Workbench tool to work with various development objects such as program functionalities, classes, table, and so on. Here is an overview of ABAP Editor. Here is a T code of SC38 to write a simple program, the main transaction. But the editor also integrated with other ABAP Workbench tools in class builder, function builder, and screen painter as well. Here is navigating and opening transactions, some /h for debugging, very important, /o to generate a new session screen, /n to end the current session screen, and there are different commands, but these are most used commands, /n/on/h. And this is it we have done in today's lecture. This was a very big lecture where we got the introduction of SAP ERP, SAP itself, ERP and ABAP, and the ABAP overview, ABAP structure, program structure, SAP screen. These all we got in this lecture. You can ask any question freely in comment. Thank you very much. Bye bye.